Ta-da.
Oh, me. Welcome to the Tom Barnard Podcast with Catherine Brandt, Andy Brandt Barnard, Alex Brandt Barnard, Tony Lee, and today's special guest, Mike Gelfand.
You're playing the music for us, are you? Tony Lee.
We don't want to pay that 5-cent commission thing that you got to pay for
that
music.
BMI.
Trying to save us money.
Tony Lee will not be here today. It's the baby situation again. Hadn't had the baby yet, but expected any day now. So
you'll be the first ones to know.
Yes, you'll be the first ones to know when little Abraham Lee is born.
What, he's on pre-maternity leave?
Yes, he is on pre-maternity leave.
Well, there was
He's had to do all that
ultrasounds,
work,
there's stuff,
carrying the baby around.
Something like that.
prenatal
Ladies and gentlemen.
classes.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
I was just waiting for you to stop,
Some things never change.
No, isn't that unbelievable?
Hey.
No, if I could just
Hey.
somebody talk about, abusing women, that'd be really great. Jesus. I get sick enough of that. Oh, it's just an inside reference to somebody who likes to talk about women like they're dogs that we don't really care
So
for.
sweet.
Are you referring to Todd Aiken?
Yeah, well, yeah, we could start with Todd Aiken if you'd like. I mean, legitimate and rape should never be used in the same sentence ever.
Isn't that great?
It's unbelievable.
What I love is the fact that he's saying, he's apologizing. He's saying, he really didn't mean to imply that women have some special mechanism for preventing pregnancy when they get raped, when he said that women have some special mechanism for preventing pregnancy when they get raped. I mean, I just don't quite track that.
Well, he didn't imply it. He just said it outright. So
Exactly.
technically, he's not lying.
Yeah, I guess he didn't imply it
I forgot.
when he said it. Bizarre.
Good point.
I forgot
Andy.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Honest to God, ladies and gentlemen, this is a revelation. Actually, it's a recovered memory. Our special guest, of course, author Mike Gelfand, radio guy, TV show. I mean, you've done it all. This is your second or third book.
This is, I think it's gonna, I did the Deadpool book and so probably my second, but this will be a little departure because this will be a little more personal and.
Right.
There's, this book it'll touch on a lot of issues, sort of my own life and my dad's life. Of course, my dad is 90.
Right.
And, he's in the home. But he's struggling every day because he has a passion for life and his one purpose in life, which is not, by the way, social justice or money or anything like that. He's trying to get his driver's license back. He's got
Great idea.
He's got a dream team. In this case, more like a nightmare team. He's got a team of lawyers working on his behalf, and so this is what he does. And the title of the book is Extended Stay.
No. Mm-hmm. I love that. See, I love that title. That's a great
title.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful title.
And it kind of says it all.
That recovered memory that I had, and I had forgotten all about this because, this is episode 6.
Yes.
It's episode 6.
Something like that.
Mike Gelfand, our special guest. I had completely forgotten that you're the one person that Andy will talk in front of. You are. I forgot that.
You lucky bastard.
Oh, we had a great chat last time we saw each other about
Timberwolves
Whatever
game.
sporting event that was.
about
Andy was
delayed
like-
sleep phase syndrome.
Yeah.
And
You're the one that put that in his head.
No. It was a coincidence. We just both happened to
Long
have the same
ago, I
thing.
decided.
yeah, I think that's there's a few of us around, but not many.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, what it means is our brains are basically completely upside down. We live on the other side of the moon, and no matter how hard we try, we're just not going to get to bed until like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And you learn to live with it.
Or become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Well,
There you go.
yeah.
Andy's tried that.
Yeah.
He has
didn't work.
not.
I can't become an
I'm just
alcoholic. It's not in me.
And actually, as Tom would tell you, because I've mentioned this before to him, I attempted to become an alcoholic. I tried to when I was in high school. I decided that I had no future. I'd been depressed pretty much since birth, and I thought what people in this situation do is they become alcoholics.
Yeah, they do.
That's
Yeah.
logical.
And I would drink every single day, and I just couldn't become an alcoholic.
No.
I could get drunk every day, but I couldn't become an alcoholic. So, then I decided to move on to other forms of self-destructive behavior.
Now, a question for you on that, because we talked a lot about this over the years. So you could drink every day, but you couldn't become an alcoholic. In other words, you weren't enjoying it, or because do you think that alcoholics, people who drink every day, actually enjoy it?
No, I don't think so. They do it because they have to.
Yeah, they develop the dependency.
Well, I think it's better than, for them, I think it's better than what they know. You know, and I think just like if you look throughout history at people who we now know, for example, were bipolar.
Right.
Pretty much every single one of them used some kind of drug.
Yes.
I mean, it was instinctive. It was in their brain. Opium, cocaine, heroin, anything they could get their hands on. Alcohol, obviously. Because it's just instinctive to try to medicate yourself.
Yeah,
and your brain is telling you that whatever you're doing isn't working for you. But I never could, I could never wake up craving it, needing the Bloody Mary to get going in the morning and that sort of thing. I just didn't crave it. No. It was just a decision I made. It wasn't like real addiction. It wasn't like if I drop a little Valium 3-4 nights in a row and pretty much, pretty quickly I'm hooked and my body says, you gotta have more of this stuff.
Right.
It wasn't like that.
No.
It was just, I guess I'll drink. So
why not?
I've seen them have half a pony.
Oh yeah. Well, I love the ponies because they're what, 7 ounces?
7 ounces.
And they're still somewhat cool by the time I finish them.
Somewhat, yes.
So
I've never seen you finish one though.
I've finished them on occasion, but so what you do is you just go from one thing to another, you try drugs, and you try working 20 hours a day. I know that's hard to believe coming from me.
From you, that's very difficult.
Or stand up.
Stand up is another thing, and you make other people depressed. You do what you can, and then eventually you figure out, you find your salvation in drugs again, but these are just the legal ones.
Yeah, well, that's very, very true, isn't it? Before we move on, start talking about your book, Extended Stay, the name of the book by Mike Gelfand. Todd Akin was effectively tied with Senator Claire McCaskill, 44% to 43% in a poll released last night by the it's 2 nights ago, by the Democratic firm Public Policy Polling. That's a little different than PPP's last poll in May, which found Akin leading 45 to 44%. This has had no effect on that race at all.
That's what Andy Kindler said. He said that
that's right.
People still liked him.
Well, his appeal is to the base, and in more ways than one.
The very base.
And I hope that they don't force him out of the race. We've already lost one comedy giant in Phyllis Diller. We don't need to lose another.
Well, you're right about that. Now, moving on to Extended Stay, Mike and I have known each other for many, many years. You've known the whole family for many, many years, and I know your family. But we've, been through the ups and downs. And one thing that people who are listening nationally and internationally that don't know who any of us are, and we have 40% of our listenership is outside the state of Minnesota.
Wow, that's great.
It's amazing. But I was very, very close to my mother. And Mike I used to talk to Mike a great deal about that when my mother died a few years ago, 4 years ago. I talked to Mike about that quite a bit, and it was very depressing. And Mike was very reassuring, saying, you know what, in about 5-6 years, it'll get better.
So, well, that's right.
The whole time heals all wounds thing is true.
Generally, what I find is when something really traumatic and awful happens to me, something magical happens to make me move on from it. And that is something else that's really horrible and traumatic happens.
So you can only hope.
It's the post-traumatic stress.
I want you to deliver to this day, the cake you
I know where you're going.
Oh, of course you do. Absolutely.
And it's true, and that's one reason why it was so funny and why it always got me in trouble when I talked about my marriage. And I said, the only thing my wife and I have in common is we both hate me.
To this day, the best line ever delivered on the KQ Morning Show.
So sad.
Well, it's true, though. In the 27-year run of the KQ Morning Show, that's the best line ever delivered on the show. I'm talking about professional comedians and whomever else.
It is a good one.
Maybe even emo.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Well, what I always said about my marriage was that, we really, we dreaded the sex, but we looked forward to the fighting afterwards.
Well, and he's not lying, basically. That's the part of it that I find fascinating.
But, here's the thing. In all seriousness, I got 3 wonderful kids out of it. And, no matter what happens, they were worth the 5 to 10 minutes of agony it took to produce them.
No.
This for your wife or for you?
For her, believe me. Not for me.
Well, that's
not for me.
You should have her do the preface to your book. I think it'd be
Yeah, that's right. It's,
is she still speaking to you?
We get along fine. I mean, that's the thing, no matter how bad the marriage is, once it's over with, generally people who are somewhat civilized can get along okay.
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine because now you have a lot of things in common, like your kids. Yeah. And like paying the utility bill.
No, you don't have that in common, though.
Well, we just pay separate utility bills, but because she's in the house that I used to be in, then there's still the house repairs and everything that you got to share and all that stuff. So yeah, it's there's a lot in common, and I think in many ways my dad now has sort of replaced the enormous stress that I had during the marriage, and God knows my wife had. And now my dad has kind of taken on the role as the person who's, who disagrees with everything I say, and more importantly, think.
You need to have one of those.
Yeah, it keeps you real.
Yeah.
Keeps you grounded.
A little humility.
Keep it real.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, it's true. And my dad, I don't, you probably don't know too much about my dad. He's not by nature a happy man, not one of those good time Charlie type guys. And he doesn't make friends easily. In fact, he's kind of at the nursing home. He's kind of like the Simon Wiesenthal of the nursing home. He spotted Nazis in every corner of that nursing home.
I should tell you, by the way, that Mike Gelfand is a Jew whose family comes from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jews in Tulsa.
Well, and that's actually
They're everywhere.
As far as the book is concerned, I mean, that's really the key to the whole thing.
I bet.
To understanding my dad, because my dad grew up, little guy, it's hard to believe, grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and, browbeaten and sometimes just beaten by the kids in the neighborhood, and it'll put a chip on your shoulder. Yeah. And he hasn't gotten over it. And so, when I look, for example, and see old Reverend Olson, who used to have a congregation, the 95-year-old guy in the wheelchair who sits next to my dad. He sees Eichmann. But here's the great thing. He's been there for about, nearly 2 years, and he's developed, a lot of people he hates. And only recently he's discovered something that really makes him happy, and that is rarely does a week or two go by without one of his enemies dying.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Little celebration.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, really, it is. He takes great joy in that, and he's my dad likes to see failure.
Don't we all?
Failure. Well, and he's. It could be a person. It could be a business failing. If we used to go out to restaurants to eat occasionally, and of course he hated that because basically he hates food.
Oh, okay.
And he hates anyone who sells it. He
Sounds
has no
pleasant.
He hates anyone who sells food.
He hates food. He likes to watch people die.
No, as far as my dad is concerned, when a restaurant goes out of business, another angel earns its wings. I mean, I brought him over the other day. His idea of a good meal, he likes to put a piece of tilapia on the foreman. That's it. No spice. No spice.
Okay.
Of course not.
When my dad, we looked through my dad, when we cleaned out my dad's house when he moved, and we couldn't find, never mind your turmeric and your cumin, your exotic spices.
Sure.
We couldn't find pepper. Couldn't find pepper. We couldn't find salt. I always say that he tried pepper once, but he didn't inhale it.
Right.
We found nothing. I did find a piece of rotted fish that had been there for obviously weeks, but see, the thing is he couldn't smell it because he can't smell and he can't taste. So his idea of food's a little different from ours. But this is true. A piece of tilapia on the Foreman grill. And then, is there anything better than a baked potato that's been in the microwave?
Oh, God.
It really brings out the flavor, the texture.
It's kind of a mealy thing.
Oh, yeah. It's great. But here's the deal. My dad, he's incredibly healthy. Because
he's 90.
Because he told me the other day, as absolute fact, he told me this week, he's trying to cut down on sugar.
Why?
Well, this is what I said, why? But he won't answer when he can't deliver something logical, which is most of the time. He just doesn't answer. The way I look at it, I think he wants to stay as healthy as he can so his body can attend his brain's funeral.
Right, yeah.
Is he in a memory care?
No. His memory is not great, but he's not in the memory care. He's able to pretty much care for himself. Driving is another question, but obviously we hate to get into that. But no, he functions pretty well. But it's just one of those deals where, the memory increasingly, it's a progressive thing.
Yeah.
I think we all understand that. And I just feel like one of the reasons I'm writing the book is I want to generate a decent amount of income so that he can be comfortably taken care of after I'm dead.
Sure.
Well, that's a noble cause.
Yeah.
It is a noble cause.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Well, 90 is quite an impressive age,
Yes.
I think.
Well, only, and as I tell my dad, about 1% of all people live to be 90.
Is that true?
And far fewer remember it.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's true. Only, and we hear, and it's true that there will be this enormous number of centenarians in the next 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. But it still is a fact. I mean, that's just a numbers game. That's just because we got all these billions and billions of people on the earth. What are we heading towards 7 now or something? Yeah. So it's a numbers game. And also, of course, it's a fact that we're not really living longer. We're dying longer is what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people, like my dad, they're still kind of a rarity. Men, of course, more than women.
Yes.
Because men don't live as long. And, so it's still kind of rare. But, it's people at that age, it's very difficult to maintain any purpose and joy in life. That's really the big issue. And most of us who go to the nursing home, and my dad doesn't really talk to me much, but it's like, how they say the Eskimos have 48 words for snow.
Right.
My dad has like 100 different ways of sighing. And each one of them connotes hatred, anger, vitriol, spite. I mean, there's not like a that kind of sigh.
Satisfaction?
No, nothing like that.
No satisfaction.
Every one of those sighs means to suggest that he's having a very unhappy life and I'm to blame.
And it's your fault?
Oh, it's completely my fault because I took away his driver's license.
Nah, that's true. That's a good point.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I kind of enjoy going over to the home. I've met a lot of interesting people, and I'll tell you, I mean, without getting graphic, it's true that women in their 80s and 90s, they're very grateful for having sex.
Alex.
My daughter just went into a full panic.
No, it's great. I mean, in some ways it's kind of sad. I'm having a little affair with Mrs. Tupperman down the hall, and she's a bulimic, and the poor woman can't remember what she threw up after lunch today. So it's a little unfortunate. But
these are the things you're thinking of.
Yeah. It's but they're grateful and they're so considerate. Like she'll say things like, "Did you finish, or is that just reflux?"
Oh. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Alex is now under the table.
Well,
I need to go into therapy.
Serious
therapy.
I always said the perfect woman is a narcoleptic with restless leg syndrome. I mean, it's great. And the nursing home opportunity just keeps knocking.
Andy, where's the rim shot?
Oh, yeah, I don't have that queued up right now.
Oh, man. I mean, you're not prepared. So, in all seriousness, the book starts in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Well, what it does is it kind of goes back and forth because I talk about, it's one of those things, my philosophy was always come for the comedy and stay for the pain.
Sure.
And that's pretty much what it's like. You really can't have one without the other. I mean, you've already in the first week, you've had a lot of comics on the show.
Yes.
And, I listened to Louis the other day. That's just sort of an alchemy process.
Yeah.
Mining all that pain and turning it into comedy.
Yeah.
So the book, necessarily there's a lot of both. It wasn't a happy life for my dad, and it wasn't a happy life for me. And God knows it wasn't a happy life for my brother and my mother. And
Are you Tony Scott, for Christ's sake?
Hey, look.
Stay away from the bridge in L.A., will you?
Hey, just listen. If you spend 5 minutes with my dad, I'm Mary fucking Poppins.
Well, you might be right about that.
It's the Gelfand Bitch Fest, everybody.
So, no, that's when I go to the nursing home.
Well, they probably like that, though.
Yeah. What I do is I kind of go back and forth between my life and, I've been really lucky and I've been really unlucky. It's been a manic depressive life. And, so I just I talk about some of those things, and then I kind of cut forward to my dad and his struggle to get his driver's license back and all the shysters who take advantage of him.
Sure.
My dad actually, I mean, there's not even a joke for this. My dad shopped around for a doctor who would tell him it's perfectly okay for you to drive. And he went through a lot of doctors.
Right.
And he finally found an 88-year-old doctor. It's true.
Jeez.
He's got an 88-year-old doctor who's got Parkinson's. And I told my dad, whatever you do, don't let him check your prostate. But
sure.
Absolute fact, the guy's 88 years old. And the guy says, yeah, I'll testify on your behalf. You're perfectly good to go. So anyway, I just kind of go back and forth that way. And, I don't really know how the book begins. As a matter of fact, it's an interesting question because I don't really know how it ends.
So where would you be now?
I'm just in the middle.
You're in the middle, but
I'm just going back and forth between the things that I've done and then, and then things that my dad is up to and all the great memories of my dad. And,
what are some of those? Let's lighten it up here.
Well, yeah, I mean,
a little sad.
I've told you a little bit about
staring at the floor.
I told you a little bit about how much he loves it when people fail.
sure.
And,
In a fun way.
yeah, well, in a fun way, yeah. And, actually, my dad, probably one of the more extraordinary things he did was that he became indignant when he, went into a grocery store near the home and found on a Sunday night the grocer was clipping coupons, the food coupons.
What?
Yeah, because see, if you know anything about it, and of course in my family, if you go back far enough, there's a lot of quarter grocers because that was something the Jew always did in the Gentile town. The Jew ran the general store.
Right.
Because the Jew could count. And
Okay. Well,
yeah,
true.
just the way it is. And so he saw the guy, he had these papers that hadn't been sold, and he's clipping out the food coupons, and so, he's sending him to redeem them. Well, of course, that's something the food companies look askance at, because
Right.
the purpose is to get people to buy their product.
Right.
And I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but the guy did lose the store.
He did. He lost the store.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
And many years later, at the site where the store had been, there was a restaurant. And of course, I've told you how much my dad hates restaurants because they sell food with a lot of fat and sugar. And he was forced to go there one day, and of course became ill. He fell ill.
oh God.
And immediately sent to the state health department so that he could submit a stool sample.
Oh,
gee.
great.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
He was,
They're probably like, no thanks.
oh no, they sent it out to him. Yeah, I mean, if you ask for the little kit, they'll send it to you.
Nice.
Probably if you keep asking, they might not. They might say, yeah, you're on the list now, buddy.
7 is enough.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we've seen them, and they're all pretty much the same. But what an incredible triumph it would have been to have put two businesses, away with on the same location.
Yeah, same exact location. No,
Yeah.
we can't move much further without talking somewhat, a little bit, about your mother.
Yeah.
Because you got along with her much better than your father.
Well, my mom was a classically depressed junkie housewife. I mean, and I don't hold it against her at all because my mom was obviously in the course of this book, I have gone back many generations. And you can't take a left or a right turn without finding someone who was depressed, someone who killed themselves. I mean, it's everywhere in the family. And I'm not just saying, you remember so-and-so.
Right.
It's in every family, every generation, every branch of the tree. And my mom wasn't going to escape that. My mom, as a matter of fact, I actually discovered, and this is fairly recently, just a couple months ago, I had a great aunt, my great aunt Sadie. Of course, my grandmother, my dad's mom, was named Sadie too, but this was my great aunt Sadie, who was my paternal grandfather's sister.
All right.
Never knew my paternal grandfather. He didn't live long enough to kill himself. A drunken surgeon killed him. Dropped the scalpel during an appendectomy, which is one reason why my mother was depressed. You know, psychologists will tell you that if you're like 8 years old and your dad dies and you don't resolve it, you're just fucked. You know, you will never get over that. Yeah. Well, Aunt Sadie, she managed to get to St. Peter's, the mental institution, pretty early in life. First, she went to Anoka, and then they sent her up to St. Peter's, where, of course, they had the electroshock unit there.
Sure.
I don't know if they had one at that time in Anoka, but I know they had one at St. Peter's. So she was, 18, 19, and she never got out of the place. And no one and she died, by the way, in 1960. So I was alive when she died. And, as opposed to now, when we're both pretty much dead. And her name was never mentioned to me. No picture in any scrapbook.
Really?
No mention. Her name was never uttered. And I called my uncle, my mom's brother, and said, well, what about Aunt Sadie? He said, well, you know, we used to visit on occasion on Sundays. We'd drive up to the asylum, because that's what it was called. To visit, but we kind of lost track of her. So, I found her death certificate, and it just said that she was a schizophrenic, which could have meant anything.
Yeah, back then they didn't have a lot of categories.
1930, what did schizophrenic mean? So, but I find these people, you know, at every single level of the family, and it's kind of like, so it helps me understand. It actually helps you forgive a little bit, because you can see how insidious this is. Not only that, but how genetic it is. You're not going to escape this.
No.
My mom had no shot. You know, I asked my mother, as she was dying, my mom on her deathbed, and I said, what, have you always been depressed? And she said, yeah. She said, but, I never really got over the depression after you were born.
Didn't you say something like that to me?
Yes. I say it every day.
It's interesting. A lot of people, when they first meet, where are you from? St. Paul? Oh, you're from St. Paul? I'm from St. Paul. Where'd you live? Over, off of, University. Oh, really? I lived off of University. And where'd you go to school? Why went to your, oh, really? Yeah. When Mike and I first met, and this is a true story, by the way. When Mike and I first met, so, how about family history? Well, my great aunt was a schizophrenic. Really? My dad was a schizophrenic.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, my great aunt
How
had
about that?
shock therapy. Yeah. Really? My dad had shock therapy.
Yeah. And my brother had shock therapy.
Yes,
I wouldn't call it therapy, but when he was a teenager, he was a heroin addict. And he had been diagnosed.
True, he's not making this up. It's true.
No, you can't make this stuff up. No, he was a heroin addict at about 16.
Wow.
And he was not a schizophrenic, but he was diagnosed as one.
Right.
Because, people look for a handle. And, but he did have, he had what he had was the, cuckoo's nest treatment, that kind of electroshock. Now they've sort of civilized it.
Yeah.
No one's saying it's a great thing, and some people say it's as barbaric as ever, which it may or may not be, but it does have its adherents now. The current method, which is, of course, electroconvulsive therapy, which is not a bipolar thing. It's just they do one hemisphere of the brain, and there's, they cut down on the voltage. It's sort of like shock treatment light, Yeah. But he had the massive stuff. And so, he was, necessarily somewhat bitter about that.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. I only met your brother a few times. Mm-hmm. One of two Jews I know named Tony.
Yeah, it's right. And
yeah, that's true. And we know them both.
The other one is Tony Rolfe.
Yeah.
The Mayaku.
Oh, so there's three.
So that's
Tony Lee.
I thought that's what you were talking about. I was like,
what's that?
I thought that's who you were talking about, Tony Lee, because,
Yeah, Tony Lee, obviously.
Tony Lee, obviously, yeah. You know why I blacked that out? And I'm very serious. While I was listening to you just now, I was sitting there thinking, I'm kind of glad that Tony Lee's not here. I don't know if I could take two Jews in the room at the, but no, Tony's not like that. So I kind of even blacked it out.
Tom Barnard Podcast,
yes,
by the way.
That's
don't
very
write,
one, come on.
Don't write, don't call.
No, you can call and write if you want. But
we won't reply. Just kidding.
No, I mean, part of that, and again, people don't know this, but in Minnesota people do, but people outside of Minnesota don't know that I grew up in a black, Jewish, Italian neighborhood. in North Minneapolis.
Yeah, not too far from where my mother grew up.
About 18 blocks.
Yeah.
In fact. Right there. It's part of the whole thing is part of my personal culture. May I have my own personal culture?
No.
No?
You're Caucasian, and you can only talk about Caucasian people.
Oh, that's right. I forgot their new rule. Oh, speaking of that, by the way, did you see this bit of news on Paul Ryan?
Started something exciting.
What's that?
Shortly after it was announced that Representative Paul Ryan would join the Romney ticket as this year's Republican vice presidential candidate, I wrote a piece titled, "What We Know About Paul Ryan and Blacks." This is Kelly Goff, who writes for, she's got a blog. I think I don't know who she writes for. The Root? I think maybe.
Okay.
Well, I recently learned of another significant addition to this list. As reported on Twitter by CNN's Pete Hamby, Ryan said he has a black sister-in-law, but perhaps even more interesting, his college sweetheart was African-American.
Really?
Just kidding.
Wow.
Oh, my word!
But would you have thought that Paul Ryan would have had a black sweetheart?
He doesn't look like someone who would be in a mixed-race relationship. He
was
doesn't
pretty-
have that face.
He's pretty
just
much
kidding.
very good. What's wrong with you? Honest to God. But
I'm like, what does that mean?
I just look at a monitor while the headlines come passing by, and I'm like, what? What does that say? I don't know. What do you think of?
Has anyone contacted this woman, you think? I mean, I'd like to get
Maybe
a
he
little
made
more
her up.
I
information
don't
about
think that's
this.
so what's so shocking
No, it's
about
not.
that?
I don't think
It's
it's
not
shocking.
even like who cares?
No, but obviously no one cares. That's not the point. Isn't that
Well, it's
anyone
made the
cares?
news. People seem to care.
Yeah.
But I guess as time passes, these two parties that we have are going to have a tougher and tougher time painting each other into a corner because this is really not something. What are they going to do? Use it against him? I don't
Well,
think so.
it just shows he's a man of principle. He would marry a black woman, but wouldn't let her in the same club that he's in.
Now there's your ultra liberal.
Yeah,
digging
there's Gelfand.
digging deep.
That we know.
Digging deep.
I didn't dig that deep.
No, you
that
didn't.
one was right there. That was like low-hanging fruit.
Well, that's true. So here's the million-dollar question: is the fact that Ryan has dated interracially a noteworthy detail to consider when analyzing his policies and politics? Sorry. Here's a well-known phrase that has virtually become a punchline. When someone finds himself on the ropes facing an allegation of racism, the go-to reflex defense is usually something along the lines of, "But some of my best friends are black."
Sure.
Translation, I can't possibly be racist or racially insensitive because there are black people I like and they like me, so there.
Well, what strikes me is that
Gosh darn it.
I would never have guessed it, but Ryan and Thomas Jefferson have something in common.
They do. That's
that's
exactly
true.
right.
There you go.
And what was it Strom Thurmond?
Strom Thurmond, right? Well, of
another
course,
one.
yeah.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
And on and on.
Well, it does. What's kind of interesting is it doesn't really surprise me, but I guess I judge people a lot by the way they dress and the way they he just looks very, very conservative to me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean that a conservative man couldn't be interested romantically or love a black woman. It's just, I suppose we all do have our, I guess you could even call it a prejudice. Oh, they wouldn't do that.
What?
Oh, I mean, first thing that jumps out at you is, well, it kind of surprises me.
Well, yeah, because there's all these instinctive cues that we have that are a lot deeper than any thoughts we have. They're just, it's just wired into your brain.
Right.
So that's an impression you have, and maybe sometimes you can outthink that, but it's always there.
Here's, I guess, when I dig down deep, why I think that was surprising to me. Because I guess I can't even explain. We're going to have to edit this part out because I can't explain my thought. It's just kind of like, why would a black woman be interested in him?
That makes more sense.
Yeah,
that makes more sense because
And I have nothing against him.
Yeah, I mean,
know the guy.
you don't think of him particularly as a guy who would have rhythm or soul.
No, that's very, very true. You're absolutely right about that. He's
what school was he? A Harvard guy, like they all are.
Yeah, every single.
I should have done some research. Do you know, Mike?
I can't remember. No.
I'll look it up quick.
Yeah, you could look it up. See, now we have a research team here. In any case, but
They went to the right schools.
yeah, they all do. I mean, isn't that a prerequisite now? In order to run for office, you have to go to the right schools.
Well, I think at a certain level, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a senator from Montana, but
Right.
But to go out of the way, it helps to have those connections because those connections lead to money.
Right.
And money is really what you got to have.
That's very, very true. Mike and I,
Scans of it.
over the years, have talked about the fact that, it's hard for me to find a home politically because both sides have pissed me off in one way or another. And, maybe I'm just, my problem that I have right now is that we're so far right and so far left. And there are a lot of people in the middle. And I'm not just talking about tax issues or any of the rest of the stuff. It's like, well, come on, that's ridiculous.
Well, say what you want, but people who are pragmatic will not kill each other.
That's true.
Because they don't see the point to it.
Right.
But extremists will kill each other.
That's
Right.
correct.
Because they're not really looking at having a decent life and they don't want things to go smoothly. They just want to eradicate anyone who doesn't act and think like them.
Right.
And there'll always be plenty of them. And of course, the more people you have, the more of them you have. And hey, they don't even care what someone believes in. If they wear funny hats, that's good enough for them. Let's go in and shoot them.
No, you're right. And how many practical people do you know?
Well, I guess I know a few, but the old expression. I mean, in business, everyone's Swiss. So, I think that there's, I think there's still that's why, we were watching the Olympics and someone said, "Oh, what's wrong with Federer?" And I said, "Hey, look, he's not a patriot. He's from Switzerland. Did you ever hear of a Swiss patriot? No, they don't. There's no money involved here. A gold medal for what? This is a guy. I mean, his training camp is in Dubai, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's got some sort of a fortress in Dubai. What does he care? This is the Swiss, but the Swiss, they'll never start a war. They'll just take the stolen art that comes from it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're still bitter about the Nazi thing.
Well,
He goes, well,
Carrying a good grudge.
I'm not quite like my dad. I don't look for it in every corner, but let's face it, if it's there,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the attitude. But those people are, those people in their own way are pretty dangerous. But it's true. It's the true believers. It's that whole thing about, the worst being full of passionate intensity, while the best just lie around in their ass. I don't think that's what Yeats said exactly.
Well, I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty close. Maybe it's just, on my part, and you guys might want to talk about this, it's fear of both the left and the right. They actually scare me.
Well, why not?
I mean, they should, don't you think?
If they're willing to die for what they believe, generally that means they're willing to kill for what they believe.
Correct.
And I think those are people who you can legitimately worry about.
Well, there's also the people that just are so annoyingly attached to their political party.
Yeah.
That you can't
That's
have
what we're talking
Like, I don't care
conversation.
what they think or say. I'm just going to vote for them because they're...
Like my brother, if the Democratic Party said to be a good Democrat, you have to chop off an arm, he would go and do it because, that's just what you have to do to be a good Democrat. I mean, he beats the drum just way too much.
Does
And
he
you
still
can't-
care?
Yeah. You call him up and say, hey, how you doing? Oh, those Republicans are doing this and that. It's like, is this what you really do all day? Is just sit around worrying about what the other guy does?
Well, and
so pathetic.
if you
Seems
look,
like a waste
Sorry,
of
I
time.
love
if you look here in Minnesota about the history of politics, about half of the people who are in Minnesota who were elected officials going back to the 50s, 60s, 70s have now been purged from the party because they're not true believers.
Right.
And that's a little scary too.
No, there's no question about that. Well, I grew up, as you know, in North Minneapolis in a Democratic family. Again, in Minnesota, it's called the DFL, unlike the rest of the country.
Right.
And, as time moved on, we got to know other people and blah, blah, blah. And my toots, my mother, eventually became friends with Tim Pawlenty. Mm-hmm. And she said, Tim, I love you, but I'd never vote for you.
That's Toots right there.
Yeah.
That would be
That's
Toots.
her in a
Grandmother.
nutshell right there.
Pretty much.
That is Toots right there. She was a Democrat. Mm-hmm. And by the way, a Roman Catholic Democrat, which I never quite understood because there's that abortion issue.
Yeah.
Well, the Catholics don't really, but
but one thing we know about Catholics is that they, about half of them don't believe in that anyway.
Well, I'd say it's a lot more than
It is a lot more.
a lot more than
You're
that.
right. Because they say at some point, like 99% practice birth control.
Oh, I believe that's true.
And those are just the priests.
Thank you very much. Great to be here, ladies and gentlemen. You know, you haven't been able to live with that line now for a few months because one of the people on the KQ Morning Show, Terry, Mike used to just beat her over the head with the pedophilia in the priesthood.
Well, let's face it.
Hilarious.
Let's face it. She brought it on herself.
Oh.
Well, she did.
She did. Because she'd say, well, I just read in the paper that a rabbi in Milwaukee got caught cheating on his wife. You know, and say, well, it's not really quite the same thing as wiping out a whole Boy Scout troop. You know,
not quite the same thing. It was Rabbi Shmuley. I remember that.
It was Friedlander is who it was. I actually remember.
Rabbi Friedlander.
God, he remembers.
Yeah. No, he's absolutely right. It's Rabbi Friedlander.
And because she would. We must never forget that was her slogan, and any time it came up, she'd say, Friedlander!
Jeez.
But he did. He just used it again.
Well, there's something about that whole, the Catholic priesthood thing that doesn't that just seem...
You think?
You know? Like,
you think maybe there's something just unnatural going on there?
You're brewing this problem. You're just, it's
it's like in a lot of really
situation.
strict Catholic churches, they only have altar boys.
But
They don't have altar
Right.
girls.
But here's the thing, it's what it is.
Only young men can hang around our priests.
What it is, and I would never have said this to Terry because I don't want to give her any hope or anything. And I definitely wouldn't want to extend the olive branch, but it actually is something that's
Never.
no. My father would be ashamed of me.
He would. He would. It's true.
Yeah, must never forgive. And but it's actually something that's intrinsic in any extreme religion. The Jews have the exact same problem at the extremist end. In New York, there's a sexual scandal among the super Orthodox, Lubavitch, whatever they are this week. There's a scandal there. They're finding that sexual abuse has been rampant. And this is, of course, among the, inside the congregation and often involving the rabbis. These are not mainstream rabbis as you and I know them.
Right.
Not the kind we grew up in. But it's all covered up. It's hush. They deal with it themselves. That's the whole thing. And that's in any culture, in any extreme, all religions eventually have these offshoots, these extreme offshoots, because eventually people who are true believers, actually, eventually people who are believers become true believers. And eventually people who become true believers, some of them become extremists. It's never going to be enough for some people.
No.
They have to be more religious than you are.
And I don't think it has anything to do with the religion, though.
Well, it's sort of what I'm...
power. It's a power issue.
It's sort of what I'm saying, because you find it with Jews, you find it with Islamics, you find it with the Catholics, and it's just it kind of goes with the territory.
Sports fans
Shows that all people are equal.
Yes, it though. There's the bright outlook of a 23-year-old right there.
Well,
Andy Kindler
Silver
was with
lining.
us. Andy Kindler did yesterday's show.
yeah.
And I love Andy.
Oh, he's funny.
One of the funniest guys in the world. He told the story kind of goes along the same lines of what we're talking about. Well, it takes a hard turn, but he said he went back to New York, and he lives in Los Angeles now, but he's a New York kid. Nice Jewish boy from New York. Goes back to visit his mother and father. So he's upstairs in his old bedroom, and he wakes up the next morning. He goes down the stairs, and he sees his mother reading the newspaper. Mm-hmm. And she turns around and goes, Andy? Says, I should mention, by the way, this is the day after Joe Paterno died.
Oh, okay.
Okay, day after he died. Andy? Looks like more trouble for Paterno.
Let's see him get out of this one.
Yeah, let's see him try to get out of this one. The guy's dead. Looks like more trouble for Paterno.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So the book will be done when, do you think?
It'll be done in the next couple of years. As I say,
Okay.
Well, I don't know how it ends.
Look out for it, ladies and gentlemen.
It really is a story that's still it's still in progress. Mm-hmm. It's because I don't really know how there's an enormous tension and conflict, and with it a certain deterioration process that's going on here. And at some point, it's progressive, and at some point things kind of get resolved.
Well, that was my question for you when you said, I don't know how it ends yet. You really do know how it ends, don't you?
I just don't know. I know how it ends, but I know the end is ugly because it's real life, and there are no happy endings in real life. If you want a happy ending, you go to a massage parlor. in real life.
Jeez Louise.
Alex says, will this guy ever stop?
But I mean, the book.
But it's the form it takes. Is it just sort of a fade out, a long goodbye, and that's, of course, that's what I don't know.
Well, see, that's part of the Jewish culture, not the religion. See, I mean, many people maybe don't know this, hopefully they do, but, Judaism is a religion, but there's also a Jewish culture.
Absolutely.
And it's a very, very important thing. Family is a very, very important thing. Education, the regular deal. But when I asked you how long is it going to take you to write the book, you kind of took a guess as to when the book would come to an end.
Yeah.
Do you think that's about accurate?
Yeah. I mean, I think one way or the other within a couple years. After all, this is it's two stories which are absolutely intertwined. It's the story of my life, which is not quite over, and it's a story of my dad's life, which is certainly it could go in any number of it can only go in one direction, but but the end takes many forms. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how things go. Maybe in some way there's some kind of reconciliation between my dad and me. Maybe
don't count on it.
I'm not counting on it. Believe me.
I'm just telling you.
Maybe
wishful thinking.
Well, and the thing is, one of the problems, of course, is that people, when they as they get older, especially when their mind and their memory starts to go, they tend to become even more like they were. And as you know, the inhibitions are the first thing to go.
Right.
The checks and balances. So that, and with human beings, the issue becomes, what is it that you've been repressing all your life? Because now you can just let it go. And with men especially, it's anger and sex.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Well.
And so typically in this battle between anger and sex, one of them will win out, to put it another way, I prayed for a masturbator and I got a warrior.
God. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Gelfand, the book is called Extended Stay. It will end when it ends.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. A lot of people say, listening to the podcast, the Tom Barnard Podcast, that it sounds like just old friends sitting around the dinner table having a conversation. So now people know all across the globe, because we have listeners in every country in the world already, what it's like to sit down at a table of a North Side Jewish family.
Yeah.
Right.
Or at least it might.
And the nice thing is that there isn't anybody listening who can't in some way relate to any of this.
Oh, there's no question. And that's another thing. What's great about this is we've had, a lot of comics on, as you said. And you're a very funny guy. I already said, you said the funniest thing in the history of the show that I host. But it's, we're going to have shows like this as well, where it's not just about, and people have asked for this, by the way. People have said, well, you're not just going to have comedians on, are you going to take on, some different topics? And that's the great thing about podcasting, is you can cover whatever you want to cover. It's just none of the, and to close, what you just said, I have a friend whose, grandfather was a, minister, I think a Lutheran minister. Never met him, but his grandmother, the wife of the pastor's wife, as they were called, I guess, right?
Right.
Yep.
She was, dying. And the doctor came into her room and she's lying in bed. And as you said, at the end, it all comes out.
Yeah.
The pastor's wife opens her eyes, looks at the doctor and says, "You're the fucking devil." He said she had never said anything anywhere near that her entire life.
No. In advance, Alex.
But
I know that you two are going to get all sassy when you turn 90.
Oh, God, I'm going to turn on you.
I know.
I'm going to turn on you and Andy.
I know.
Andrew, you did a great job today, I think. You talked to Mike Gelfand. It was wonderful.
Yep.
Well, we've got a discussion. We've got a discussion coming up in a few minutes. We've got to update ourselves on our sleep syndromes.
This hour went by very, very quickly.
It did. It was a lot of fun.
We're done. Oh, it's an hour?
50 minutes.
Wait.
But
It's the 50-minute hour. It's the 50-minute hour, which is appropriate for all the issues I was dealing with.
That's true. Do you feel better?
Well, that's right.
I feel like now you're going to ask me if I want to make an appointment for next week.
So listen, I got some time on Tuesday next week, and if you want to come in, that would be great.
All of a sudden he's got a Jewish thing going on.
I do around Mike anyway.
Hey, we know he's got Hebes in the wood pile.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that part's true. What are you going to do? But just, So thank you very much. Extended Stay, the name of the book, and we'll stay on top of this because it's going to be a fascinating subject. And it will be maybe unlike any other book you've ever read in that it will be brutally honest because Mike, his whole life has been brutally honest. He was a sports writer at one time. As I said, how many years did you spend as a sports writer?
Well, I spent 10 years as a reporter, and I think about 3 or 4 as a sports writer.
As a sports writer?
Yeah, I mean, I started out when doing something I loved, which was general assignment. But to punish me, they said I had to do something really specific. And so I figured I'd become a sports writer because they wouldn't be paying attention to what I wrote.
So he had his own TV show for several years. It was on a radio show for 26 years.
Yep.
Sports writer. He's written a book. This is his second book that he's writing now. I'd like to close with a story that Mike told me that ties all of this in. At least for me, it does in our friendship. When the new Twins Stadium was being built, many, many years ago. So it's the old stadium now that the Vikings still play in, but the Twins have moved on. They were going to name the street after a famous Minnesota Twins baseball player. And Mike said,
prosecuting old grudges.
Mike said, well, who's that? Which player are they going to name a street after? And I said, Rod Carew. He said, what are they going to call it? Psychopath? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for the last hour, and thank you for the last 26 years too.
I feel the same way, as you know.
Friendship.
Looking forward to seeing it. Was that Alex or Catherine?
Andy.
Was Andy singing? Thanks very much, everybody.